The Resurrection Story DLC was released for Battlefront II yesterday. In this video, I'm gonna explain exactly what Project Resurrection is, and I'll cover the connections the new story may or may not have with The Last Jedi. In my opinion, there weren't any spoilers for the movie at all, but I will be speculating, so if you want to go into The Last Jedi completely clean, this is your warning. This is also your warning that I'll be spoiling the events of the campaign. Just to answer the question posed by the title quickly, Project Resurrection is simply the code name used by the First Order for the kidnapping, brainwashing, and training of children to build their military, which is pretty much what I predicted. It's the resurrection of an Imperial-like force. It has nothing to do with Snoke, so that's it. It makes sense because Gleb was the headmaster of the future Imperial Leaders School. The First Order would want to make use of her expertise to create their new soldiers. The story picks up in the Hartaga system, specifically Kiera's Comet Cluster. Both the location and the system are new to Star Wars as far as I know. Iden and her daughter, Zay, are summoned to the Corvus by Shriv, so there goes another theory. Iden and Del are not the parents of Rey. So I'm 2 for 2 on theory busting. They find out Del is missing, and their only lead is a contact in the Athula system. This is the system Gleb mentioned at the very end of the main campaign, saying she would triple her efforts there. Iden and Shriv learn that Janata security has been kidnapping families, and then they're forced to fight a cobbled-together Janata fleet. I thought that was pretty cool. Janata is serving the First Order, but they don't seem to have any actual support from them. They're still using V-Wings, ARC-170s, and even N-1 starfighters. After we beat them into submission, we learn that Project Resurrection is based off of Vardos. It's cool seeing Vardos again. Gideon mentioned that the First Order helped rebuild the city, but I mean, not really. Again, Janata security seems to be helping the First Order without getting much in return. This is where we find out this story is taking place alongside the events of The Force Awakens, as we see the destruction of Hosnian Prime defying every law of physics. It would appear that Gleb and Janata are no longer useful to the First Order now that they have what they want. Hask reveals he is still alive to Iden, and claims Project Resurrection isn't about kidnapping, but rescuing children. This lines up with the beliefs of Captain Cardinal in the Phasma book. During our escape, we run into the new First Order version of the AT-ST Walker. As far as I know, it's literally just called a First Order AT-ST. And speaking of new walkers, we also get a good look at the AT-M6. Seeing all this new tech makes Iden and Shriv want to get some intel on the First Order to give to the Resistance. So we head to a new Resurgence-class battlecruiser called the Retribution. I think this is the third Resurgence class we know of, the first being the Finalizer, and the second being the Absolution from the Phasma book. On board, we get more confirmation that the kidnapped children are being turned into stormtroopers, which Hask just told us, but we also get a look at the First Order fleet and see that they have enough capital ships to take control of the entire galaxy. I guessed before that maybe the First Order fleet just wasn't that big, but it looks like I was wrong there, so now I'm 2 for 3. I think the answer on how they're able to build all this new stuff will be answered by Snoke's flagship, the Supremacy. Also, just for fun, the Arabesh here reads Project Resurrection in the top left. In the bottom left, it says Janata System, Report, Pilio Operation Eliminated, Athula Operation Interrupted, Vardos Operation Eliminated, and in the bottom right it says Report, Data Classified by Commander Hask, Gideon. We also see schematics for a First Order Dreadnought. We've known about these ships since they were shown on the Star Wars show. I'm guessing they'll be used in the attack on Dakar, and maybe the Resistance will have some intel on their weaknesses. This could be how they have that intel. Iden disables the ship and it comes out of hyperspace during the Battle of Starkiller Base. Unfortunately, she was shot by Gideon before he died, and she dies in Zay's arms. Zay is told to make sure the Resistance gets that intel, so she and Shriv head to Dakar, and we get probably our best look at the Raddus so far. The ship flying alongside it might be the Ninka. We haven't actually seen it yet, but it was recently mentioned in Star Wars Insider as Admiral Holdo's cruiser. The Resistance is clearly expecting the First Order to make some sort of counterattack. Leia tells Zay she has an urgent mission for her. The Resistance has allies in the Outer Rim. Now, that could very easily mean just reinforcements, but I find it interesting that she says allies and not reinforcements. So now it's my turn to make a crackpot theory, just because I want it to happen so much. But what if Zay is heading off to find the Chiss Ascendancy and bring them in to help? They're located beyond the Outer Rim, but I mean, it's close enough. It could happen. I think it's more likely I'm just hearing what I want to hear, and Zay will just be fetching more members of the Resistance. But what if? With that, this story DLC comes to a close. We lay a couple of fan theories to rest, and now we have nothing left to do but wait until The Last Jedi. The new missions were exciting teases for the new story, giving us some minor tie-ins, as if I weren't hyped enough. What did you guys think of Resurrection? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.